Hello guys, it is me, I am Falcon64, and today I'm here with episode 7 of the review of Cloak and Dagger. Now, the plot for this episode. A mysterious man in a catatonic state for almost a decade may be the key for Tandy to finally clear her father's name, and Tyrone and Tandy test their combined powers for the first time. Now, this episode, if you were on board with Cloak and Dagger and you were just like dragging along, then this episode, if you didn't like this episode, then I don't know what to tell you. Like, this was, you'll see, but in my opinion, but it was just, this episode was just great. But okay, here we go. Acting. Start off with Mina's father, whose name is Ivan, and a little bit of his backstory before everything went down. You come to find out that the song he was humming was the song that was playing at the rig before it blew up. Aubrey and Olivia's acting in this episode was the best in this series so far. I felt emotionally connected to the characters even more this episode, especially when Tyrone was trying to help Tandy out of the trance with her father's voice. When she finally came to her senses, it was just an amazing heartbreaking scene. Yes, like I said in episode 6 review, the crying on command, it was just used to its full power in this episode. It was just so good, and you felt so connected. You felt like you were there and you wanted to help, you wanted to talk to them. I know I did, but it was just so good. Now the characters. In the beginning, we get to see more of Ivan and find out what happens at the rig. Shortly after, we get some more intense character development from Tandy and Tyrone. Ivan is stuck in a loop while in his catatonic state, and he ends up putting Tandy and Tyrone in this loop. Once he finally comes to his senses, the show makes you think that it was all for nothing because the loop resets. But thankfully, he instantly gets to work to get out and see his daughter. It kinda sucked how he did remember Tandy and Tyrone once he got out, but at least he remembered his daughter. I was gonna wonder how he would go about with their powers, because if he asked questions and they like told him and he found out, then Roxanne would kill him. And then Mina's father would have been actually dead instead of in a catatonic state, which would have been worse. So I think it was honestly for the better that he forgot them and what they could do. Now the CGI. This episode also had the greatest use of CGI. When Tandy and Tyrone first get into Ivan's mind, they have to fight off these angry people, and they get right to work. Tandy is using her daggers with the help of her flexibility and agility. Tyrone is pushing people and making them hit gas lines so he can teleport behind them and push them into the gas. Later on, after Tyrone leaves and comes back, we find out that Tandy can now throw her daggers, and to my surprise, they actually made dents into the objects they touched before they disappeared. Also, I'm really starting to feel the darkness effect on Tyrone after he teleports. Yeah, when I was watching this, it was actually clear that I liked it. It was, at first, I wasn't feeling it, as you guys know. Now I do. I find it to be pretty cool. Even though it wasn't that far away, I thought it was pretty cool and pretty decent. But yeah, when Tyrone had given up, and after Tandy was just in the trance with her father, like she was on the phone with her father, and she would not stop calling after each reset. So he's like, okay, we need to go. He tried to take the lead and like get her out because this wasn't healthy. So when he left from touching Ivan, because they both touched Ivan to get into his mind so that they could unlock the door together, which I thought was pretty cool, and how they were linked that way too, even with a single person trying to see their hopes and nightmares at the same time. You could see that Tandy, she still had her light on him, and that she was still wanting to talk to her father. And I think she was in there like over 200 times it reset, so that's time is a little messed up in there. Now the pacing of the story. This episode is when Cloak and Dagger are born, in my opinion. They start by using their powers together, then later on, when Tandy is getting extremely mad at Tyrone for hanging up the phone while she's talking to her fake dad, she decides to fight him, and he's teleporting around and trying to calm her down while also talking sense into her. He told her to ask a question that only her dad would know, and she asked her father, and of course he didn't know, so that's when she snapped back into herself. The fight to protect Ivan was the best thing all season so far. The way they took up the people on their own and then combined their flow of attack was just beautiful to see. And finally, the ending scene when Tyrone calls Tandy so he can be with someone while he listened to a recording of his brother's voice. And I put a personal note, that scene hit it home for me. Yes, it was just Tyrone couldn't do it by himself, and you know, who's the only person that actually is sort of 50% of him. So he calls the other 50% of him, and they just do it together, and they listen to it again and again and again. For I think there's twice, maybe more off screen. But the overall episode, this is my new favorite episode because it has all the things I need in it. The more I saw Tyrone blink away, the more cooler it looked. Yes, this episode, it was the best so far. I feel like even in this finale, when I watch it, I don't know if they could top this. I honestly don't know. It was just so good to see all this happen, the development, the CGI, the choreography. It was just so good, and the acting was on par. But this has been my review, and I hope you guys liked it, and see you next time.